Forgiveness is the only gift I give. Forgiveness is the only gift I give, because it is the only gift I want. And everything I give myself. Forgiveness is the only gift I give. Forgiveness is the only gift I give. Forgiveness is the only gift I give, because it is the only gift I want. And everything I give myself. This is salvation's simple formula. And I, who would be saved, would make it mine to be the way I live without a world that needs salvation, and that will be saved as I accept atonement for myself. Forgiveness is the only gift I give. Forgiveness is the only gift I give, because it is the only gift I want. And everything I give myself. Father, how certain are your ways, how sure their final outcome, and how faithfully is every step in my salvation set already and accomplished by your grace. Thanks be to you for your eternal gifts, and thanks to you for my identity. Forgiveness is the only gift I give. Forgiveness is the only gift I give, because it is the only gift I want. And everything I give myself. Everything I give myself. And everything I give myself. Forgiveness is the only gift I give. All right, y'all. Lesson 297. Forgiveness is the only gift I give. Paragraph 1. Forgiveness is the only gift I give, because it is the only gift I want. In everything I give myself. This is salvation's simple formula, and I, who would be saved, would make it mine to be the way I live within a world that needs salvation, and that will be saved as I accept atonement for myself. Paragraph 2. Father, how certain are your ways, how sure their final outcome, and how faithfully is every step in my salvation set already and accomplished by your grace. Thanks be to you for your eternal gifts, and thanks to you for my identity. I was thinking the other day, actually, this thing about identity. Not to get too far afield, but I think this is very related. In the Gospels, where does Jesus seem to most say that he is one with the Father? He's one with God. He is basically God incarnate. You don't really find that until the Gospel of John. I mean, you could see hints of it in the other Gospels, but really in the Gospel of John. And then this idea that Jesus was God, like Jesus was co-equal or one with God And this Trinity, the idea of the Trinity is also in John, but it's not spelled out as it was later, right? As in it's called Christology, the working out of what the theology of Christ is. So I was thinking about this the Course uses this term identity quite often. And it's an interesting term because we also have the word identical, right? Identical, meaning that our identity is the same as God's identity, right? It's one and the same. There's only one self, right? So my self is the same as God's self, is the same as my brother's self. We all share that same one self. So the identity is identical, right? Forgiveness is the only gift I give. And this takes us, this lesson takes us back to the atonement principle. It doesn't really take us back because Jesus keeps formulating the atonement principle in different ways. And this is just another way. So forgiveness is the only gift I give because it is the only gift I want. And everything I give myself. This is salvation's simple formula. And I, who would be saved, would make it mine to be the way I live within a world that needs salvation and that will be saved as I accept atonement for myself. It's a very important and powerful formulation of the atonement principle that Jesus is making here. He's saying, all I need to do, remember he said early in the text, the sole responsibility of the miracle worker, which is you, right, which is me, is to accept the atonement for ourselves. He's saying the same thing here. We have to accept the atonement for ourselves. That's all we need to do is our own acceptance, right? That's the way to save the world. Not by going out and trying to help people, trying to, change the world, but rather what we need to do is we need to change our mind about the world. That Jesus says that as well in the text, right? Seek not to change the world, but seek to only to change your mind about the world. So again, this is the same thing. Forgiveness is the only gift I give because it is the only gift I want. I only want to accept the atonement principle. That's forgiveness, right? That is really what forgiveness is. And everything I give myself. This is salvation's simple formula. Right? Everything I give myself. That's salvation's simple formula. There's only one self. There's only one of us here. And I, who would be saved, would make it mine to be the way I live within a world that needs salvation. Right? I want to be saved. I see a world that needs salvation. How do I save myself and the world? But by sharing, not by sharing, but by accepting the atonement principle for myself. So what does that mean to accept the atonement principle? That means to accept the idea that there's no need for salvation, right? In reality, we're already good, right? We're already God. We already got it. We got it right now. We don't need to really do anything but rest in God, rest in love, right? That's another way of putting this too, that Jesus puts it really well. Rest in God. God has never changed. God is only love. I keep saying this, but this is really to put it all in a nutshell. God is love and only love. God has never changed. That love, that eternal love can never change. That eternal love is outside of time and space. It's eternal. We are equal participants in that love. We not even participants. We are equally a part of that love. Our true reality, our true essence, which means that we're there even now. And that's what we need to accept, is that has never changed. And so what implications does that have? If I accept the atonement principle, what does that mean? that means that I can live without fear, right? That means that I can live without the ego, because the ego is fear-based. I can live without the stress, the anxiety, the depression, the all the things that I thought I needed, because somehow that would help, but it doesn't help, right? We all know that it doesn't really help. It just makes it worse, actually. Although we might think it's helping, right? We might think that stressing out is somehow helping, but it doesn't. So all we need to do is remember this simple, fundamental principle. And it's not easy, right? Although Jesus sometimes does say it's easy, but for most of us, it's not easy. This is a process, but we can't lose sight of the simplicity of salvation, as Jesus puts it. Salvation is simple. There's a simple formula, right? And the simple formula is love. Only love is real, right? And only love is our reality. All of us. Anything that tells us otherwise is not real, right? It's witnessing to an illusion or a dream. You could say the dream of form, right? And the dreams take many forms, and the illusion takes many forms, and the fear takes many forms. Love, in reality, only has one form. Love also can take many forms, but love, in reality, is the unity of, is basically formless, because form in and of itself is a limitation, you might say. But these are just words. This is semantics as well, and we have to get beyond the words and the semantics. Father, how certain are your ways? Interesting that he doesn't say, Father, how certain is your way? He says, how certain are your ways? How sure their final outcome? Because everyone has their own way, right? There's many ways to get there. And how faithfully is every step in my salvation set already and accomplished by your grace? So another way to put the atonement principle is nothing happened, right? Everything's already done, right? What we're accepting is really that it's already complete. The work is already finished, right? It is done. So it's already accomplished. We can just rest in that, or we don't have to. Maybe we don't like that idea. So maybe we're going to fight that idea. Maybe we're going to resist that idea of that it's already done. Because maybe we want to have the drama and the, fight against, be the mouse roaring at the universe. But that doesn't, then we're going to find out that doesn't really work, and we're going to come back to this. If we go astray, if we go away from this idea, we're ultimately going to come around again. So we might as well just stay with it. If we keep finding out that it doesn't work to fight it, it's like, that saying, if you can't beat it, join it. And that's really what we're talking about here. You cannot beat love. Love cannot be attacked. Love cannot be fought against. Love is the only thing like that, right? So why fight love? Why fight your own true nature? Thanks be to you for your eternal gifts. Again, it's plural. And thanks to you for my identity. So the plurality here maybe hides the unity, in a sense. Because you might read this and say, yeah, Jesus is talking about ways, he's talking about gifts. He's not saying, how certain is your way? Father, how certain is your way? Thanks be to you for your eternal gift. Right? Because the because the lesson is forgiveness is the only gift. There's only one gift, right? So now why does he say, thanks be to you for your eternal gifts? If there's only one gift in reality, right? Why does he freaking say eternal gifts? It's a good question. I don't necessarily have a good answer except to say that Jesus obviously wants to express this in a dualistic way because we find that helpful as well, right? And that speaks to a lot of people, and not a lot of people necessarily would pick this up and understand it if it's spoken in a more non-dualistic way. So it's got to meet whoever's coming to it. It's got to meet them. It's got to be able to meet them on whatever level they're coming to it. That's one way of understanding this, right? But don't forget that it says forgiveness is the only gift I give. There's only really one gift, right? If Jesus sometimes talks about gifts, he's using that as a way to meet us where we think we are, which is in duality. And remember, I did that video. You might not have seen it, but I did a video on AI and ACIM. I've done a couple videos now, and one of the questions brought up the issue of, is ACIM a non-dualistic thought system? And according to AI, at least, it is. But again, that AI just picks up patterns and so on. And so maybe the consensus is that ACIM is a non-dualistic, or presents a non-dualistic metaphysics. Some will argue with that. That's okay. I don't think it's really maybe helpful. Maybe it is helpful to say non-dual. I think the words often get in the way. Because my question has been, well, let's say it is non-dual, but that could mean that we just are, in the state of oneness, there's still some kind of distinction between us, right? It's still oneness, it's still not two-ness, but there is still some kind of distinction. We don't know, Now, a pure non-dualist would say, no, that's not possible. There can only be one self, and that self, is totally unified. But I think there's room to say there could be one self, but there somehow is, there's still a me and a you, but there's still only one self, right? And I think that's the mind-blowing part of this, is that we don't really know until we get there, and it could be that there is, and then some people would say, well, if there's still a me and a you, then you're not all the way there, right? if there's subject and object still, then you're not all the way in the non, you're afraid to go all the way, right? Because you're afraid of that little self, that little me being snuffed out, and so you're trying to maintain a duality. So this is difficult, we'd have to really go into this more. I have talked about this in other videos, but I think that's enough for this, whatever this is. Forgiveness is the only gift I give, because it is the only gift I want, and everything I give myself. This is salvation's simple formula, and I who would be saved would make it mine, to be the way I live within a world that needs salvation, and that will be saved as I accept atonement for myself. Forgiveness is the only gift Forgiveness is the only gift I give. Forgiveness is the only gift I give. Peace.